everyone, and welcome to Season 6 of Spine Chill. I'm John Wolfe here with my two co-hosts, Gary the Hot Cross.
Hello!
He said hello this time.
I did last time.
For our audio-only listeners, I love that. Also here with Doug, Running Man.
Hello!
Our guest for the sixth time in a row.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, guys. I really appreciate it.
I always love it when you join us. It's great.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't miss it.
Spine Chill, by the way, the #1 asymmetrical horror podcast on the internet. We're proud to be here talking about all things Dead by Daylight, VHS, Evil Dead, and other asymmetricals. Like, for example, later in the episode, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the brand new asymmetrical game, Dragon Ball Breakers, which Gary and I had the, would you call it the pleasure of playing this weekend, Gary?
I think it fits into the horror genre because of certain reasons.
I would agree with you. I was actually, when we were playing it, I was like, I have to make that joke on the podcast. I have to say it's a horror
Great
game,
minds
but not
think
for the
alike.
reason you would think. Yeah. But we'll be covering that later. So I hope you're all excited. Basically, Gary and I are going to be relaying to Doug what our experience playing the game was.
Who was
like.
unfortunate enough to miss out on such a experience.
It's really too bad you missed out on it, Doug.
Yeah,
but
you don't get your time back in this life, and unfortunately, that's time I'll never get back. So I'm just looking forward to living vicariously through my two co-hosts here and hearing more about.
Well, wait till we tell you all about the thrilling killer survivor interaction in that game.
Can't wait.
2 seconds of it
So good,
on average.
So good.
Can't wait.
But first, I believe we have a lot of things to talk about with DBD. We usually start by talking about DBD, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go to VHS, Evil Dead, and then conclude with Breakers.
I think the first thing we should talk about, John, is a little topic about you, who did a charity stream playing Dead by Daylight. Would you like to tell us about it?
I did.
You did indeed.
I did a charity. I did. Yeah, I did. Actually, it was just a couple days ago when we were recording this. Did a charity stream for the Animal Defense League of Texas, San Antonio's largest and oldest no-kill animal shelter. And you guys have no idea how many times I've said that.
We know. But we watched. No.
But we raised over $40,000, $41,000 for the no-kill animal shelter, which was great. I played some DBD for our grand finale, and I did a cosplay as Ada Wong.
And John looked smoking.
Fantastic.
Looked amazing.
Cosplay. Incredible.
Thank you.
The dedication.
I believe, as cool people say, your eyebrows were on fleek.
Thank you. Well, I can't take any credit for the eyebrows. Doug is cringing right now.
Get your head out of your hands.
Firmly in his hands. I'm right there with you. But well, it was a compliment towards me, so yeah. I'm taking it right now. But
on the fence.
I can't take any credit for that. My wife did my eyebrows, so she did a great job.
She did a great job.
Kimmy Kims.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Kimmy Kims. Check her out. There's the camera.
Please shut up.
But yeah, it was great. I played as Ada the entire stream.
I would have been great if you just played Leon or something. You just played something. You played as Cheryl.
Yeah, that would be funny. But yeah, it was great. I've got all the pieces together, and I've been working on it for a couple months now, so it was nice to get it out there.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you got to play the Halloween event.
I did. That's a great...
As we all have.
A great segue, Gary. Dead by Daylight's annual Halloween event.
Whilst you guys were at TwitchCon, I practiced.
No, did you? Yeah, you just do a little solo podcast in your bathroom. Yeah, just recording yourself. Like, welcome back to Spine Chill. I've been abandoned.
That would be so funny if you were just practicing segues with yourself.
No,
I was going, that's a great segue, me. Thank you, me.
John, did you say you deleted a program from your PC? That reminds me how Nurse should be deleted from Dead by Daylight.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Wow.
Our next topic, what do we think about Nurse?
Yeah, the Halloween event.
Right.
What do you guys think? Have you got to... Doug, have you got a chance to play it yet? You have,
yeah. So, I mean, if you guys know, John and I were both recently at TwitchCon, and then following TwitchCon, I was gone for 5 days traveling. So I actually played DBD for the first time yesterday as we record this, which would be Monday, October 15th. So I took 2 weeks off from DBD. So I came back completely fresh, Halloween event rocking and got to go into it with with wide eyes, and so far I've had a really good time with it. I don't know, it feels interactive enough without being oppressive. Like I know that like all the gens count for progress, all the hooks count for progress. So like the first thing I did when I started playing is I took off Scourge Hook pain res because I was like, well, if I need to get event hooks, I don't want to have to get event hooks and not get Scourge. And then somebody in chat told me, oh, well, all the hooks count. So I thought that was kind of cool. That's something they haven't done in the past.
I think that's a really good change to the event. Actually, this is one of my favorite events, I think, in just terms of it's very engaging. Like, I love the visuals. Like, there's the giant rift in the sky. I think the gens look cool. I think the rift objective is really exciting for survivors and gives you something else to do, and it's quite rewarding in terms of blood points. Making loads of blood points.
It's 10k extra blood points if you do all the void energy, right?
I don't know. I think
it works out as 16,000 roughly if you get if you do 215s. I think you get 3,000 just for putting in a load in.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't
putting a load in. I don't want to hear you say that again.
I wasn't deep diving the math, but I know that while running the offerings because I run an offering every single game. I got to spend points to get offerings, even though I know it's like a net loss probably, but just because event stuff, man. Let's have some fun. I was getting anywhere from like 45 to 65k points per killer match.
When you say offerings, do you mean the event ones?
Oh, the arcane dowsing rods.
Arcane dowsing rods. I remembered that also, John. I'm glad you said it right before me because I was just about to say that.
Because I've heard that all the rest of them aren't working at the moment.
I've been told that anything that stacks group-wise, like Bloody Party streamers, flans, those don't work. But any individual blood points offerings still work.
That's interesting because I noticed that on my stream, but I like pointed out or anything. But I was like, oh, that's weird. I should have more blood points than that. Okay.
Yeah, because I was wasting Bloody Party streamers trying to be really nice. Oh, waste. Down the drain.
Any time that you're nice in Dead by Daylight, it's a waste.
True. You need that killer instinct.
But I've got to say, with the event, I really like the cosmetics you get for doing the objective, like the bonus one, like those shirts. And the killer weapons. It's 6 survivor shirts and 6 killer weapons, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and I think the shirts mostly look amazing. I mean, there's a couple where I'm like, oh, it's a shame to not have something on the back because they've all got like something on the arms or the front, and some of them have got the back. Some of them just. I think there's a couple that've just got something on the front. It's like, it's kind of a shame not to see more on it. But generally, they're all really cool. The killer weapons are all pretty cool as well. I like all of those. I think they're quite interesting. I was surprised Twins got one.
Yeah,
that caught me off guard.
Yeah,
it's, but it's a Twins cosmetic. Nice to see.
Didn't we just recently? I know that we're on the topic of the event, but didn't we just recently find out just how few Twins players there are out there with those stats they released? Like,
there's just one.
Yeah, like one and a half.
Linksy?
Just Linksy.
Yeah,
just Linksy.
Who? Never heard of her. That's crazy.
Linksy has a couple alts that play during NA Central time, so.
True.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, I actually didn't take a big look at the killer pick rates on those. I just looked at the kill rates.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that, I guess.
Yeah. The pick rates were, for some of those killers, were abysmal. Like Twins and Pinhead were both actually really low on pick rate.
Really?
Yeah.
Pinhead? That surprises me.
Yeah. Does it? You see a lot of pinheads when you play Survivor? I don't know.
I see a few.
I don't see them that often. No. But I see them every now and then, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I see more pinheads than I do, like, Trapper and stuff, by, like, miles.
Yeah.
Well, before we talk about the stats, though, just to circle back to the Halloween event, how do we feel about the idea that the void energy portion, the Halloween event, where as Survivor you gain points by doing generators and then depositing them for points in the rift? How do we feel about the idea that encourages gen rushing?
You're telling me, wait, hold on. You're telling me that the event encourages survivors to do the literal only thing they have to do?
What? It's just a hot take I saw on Twitter.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, this is a great...
Unbelievable. The audacity of these devs.
I did see, there was a lot of weird back and forth on Twitter. I saw some people describing the event as survivor-sided. I don't know why everyone has to like take an event super serious. I remember when people were whining about dressing up as snowmen.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Did you guys?
It's ludicrous.
Did you guys play in the first blighted event they did? The one where they had the pustules you had to channel.
The plant.
Yes,
that horrible plant
the
thing.
pustules.
Yeah. Do you guys remember how every game ended with like 4 gens up because they were like having to go find those pustules and drain them, and like they weren't doing like they had the original event, the original blighted event, like had you doing something separate of the gens, and it was like having like super ruin every game. Like I didn't lose a single game during the event, and I was like playing super chill. Like it makes perfect sense to me to just what they've done. I think is perfect. Like your killer's main objective is hooking survivors. Survivors' main objective is doing gens. Just associate those with the event and call it good. Like that's what you got to do to progress in the event.
The only thing you could argue is if you wanted to get like a sweaty survivor mindset of it and be like, it's taking survivors off of generators a couple of times a game to put points in the rift.
But
that's negligible, like time issue. Really, like not a big deal.
It is a little bit of built-in slowdown, isn't it?
It's an extra bit of slowdown.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So when I see people describing it as survivor side, I'm like, the only negative I can see is for the survivors. Everything else is just play as normal.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much: when I play Pinhead during the event, that means does that mean I get 6 slowdowns?
Yeah, you can play 6 slowdown
Pinhead. Yeah. Let's go. All right, I'm here for it.
Make that YouTube
Keep the
video
event going forever. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
It's a good title.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't really see. I mean, I feel like we have, and this is just going to be the way it is. This is just life. Like people are always going to find things to complain about and reasons to take exception to something, but the event feels very balanced and very minimally. Really cool it's minimally invasive. Like you just play the game and you get extra points and you get cool cosmetics. Like I don't know who can complain about all that.
Yeah, I think my experience with the event has been great so far, with the exception of there's been a lot of nurse when I play Survivor. There's been a lot of nurse and a lot of blight, like more than normal.
I have noticed, and it happens every event, and I'm going to do a YouTube video at some point talking about this, but like, it feels like every time there's an event, there's a portion of killers that log into the game specifically to ruin everything. It feels a bit like that sometimes, because I've not been tunneled and camped quite as much than I have since the event kicked off.
It's very interesting because I've seen a lot more camping over the event than I did before, but the event incentivizes getting hooks as killer. And it's like, so why are you camping? You're not getting anything. You're not sweating for the event. You're just kind of sweating in general.
Yeah, there's something weird going on where I think there is people that just play it to ruin it. Which is bizarre. Because you're right, it makes no sense. Like, you want to get hooks. You want someone to get unhooked so you can rehook them.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to get hooks. But, and like, honestly, you could play Trapper, who we placed last on our killer tier list, which we published last week, by the way.
Stats backed it up.
You could play
Lowest
Trapper.
Lowest kill rate.
And do just fine in the event and get all the cosmetics. So you don't have to. I don't understand these double range nurses that are camping that I've seen. It's very strange.
I mean, I can't believe I've been camped by multiple nurses. It's like, what is going on?
You're playing nurse and you're camping, bro? What?
Yeah. I had a nurse daily and I used double range and I'm not sorry for it.
No, it's fine to use double range.
People are going to use it,
But like if you're using double range and camping, that's a little bit of a.
Camping is so weird. It's so weird. Yeah. Like, I just honestly wish, we can get into this topic. This could be like a whole episode topic, but like how people fundamentally don't understand how to properly camp. Like, I'm actually really good at camping. If you guys didn't know, like, I know exactly when
you are a professional camper.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We can look through your Steam profile to see how good you are.
Yeah. But again, this isn't just using the friend card though. Like, how many times you guys ever see me camping anyone at 4 gens?
Very rare.
Never 5 gens.
It's a stupid idea. Like, it's dumb.
It's a bad play. It's literally bad strategy. Like, calling it tactics and doing it doesn't make a good strategy. It's so dumb. Like, you gotta pick your moment.
Yeah.
Because if you're camping at 5 or 4 gens and it's working, you could have won already because they're bad. If they're throwing like that.
Yeah, you would have gotten more pressure from getting into a chase and getting it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you've got something off for Gen. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Ugh.
No.
Nurses,
anyways, that's all right. We all agree that nurse is the worst.
Saying that, I had fun against nurse yesterday. Yeah, I had like.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a bit where you like. I had fun against nurse. No, I've never had fun against Nurse.
I would think I had fun against Nurse. Never. No, I had quite I had some good matches against some Nurses. They were fair and they were good. So we didn't win. Still good Nurses. But.
So it was a drinking stream then, Gary? Or
I was plastered.
Wow, Nurse again.
No, it was actually the segue's quite nicely because I thought the DC penalties were off.
Oh yeah.
The DC penalty.
They were turned off. They were turned off over the weekend because DVD's got a few crashing issues at the moment, I believe, and there's the vaulting bug with flashlights. There's a few other issues going on here and there, so the DC penalties were switched off over the weekend. And they went on like an hour into my stream on Monday.
I got the bug last night, the crashing bug, when I was streaming. It was my last match of the night. I was just about to wrap up a 4K on Leary's. I was chasing the last guy. Game crashed. So but I mean, that was after 7-8 hours, I think. I had been streaming for a while without crashing, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I see that, and I know that of course, I'm hearing about this all via Twitter and via my network, right? Actually, I streamed for 9 hours last night. Wow, okay. So it was 9 hours then that I finally crashed. But I hear there was a tremendous amount of discourse in the DVD community over this DC penalty thing.
Yes,
removing the DC penalties. And we should probably discuss that a little bit.
We should. I agree.
Yeah, my take on it is pretty easy. So if one of you guys wants to take point, I can give you guys my take. It's not going to take long. What?
Oh, okay.
Unless you want me to leave. I mean, it's very simple. I've been playing DVD since 2016. Like, I feel nothing anymore. Like, whatever. DC if you want. Don't DC if you want. I can't get worked up about it. Like, here's the thing, okay? There's a lot of real hall monitor energy going on Twitter right now with the DC thing because, like, it's not your problem. It's not my problem. It's behavior's problem to fix. They have a DC penalty in place for a reason that has been feels like effective for quite some time. They needed to remove it for some time. I don't understand why there's so much discourse. Like, they're not going to keep it off. They took it off. They literally gave us a specific reason they took it off. Maybe no timeline to get it back on, but like, it's a very temporary issue. I don't understand how we can have like mountains of twitlongers to discuss it. Like, just stop caring so much, please. Like, if a DC happens, move on to the next game.
I've got to say though, it's because it was entertaining. Because the people that really didn't like the DC penalties being off, it was pretty much all killer mains.
Yeah.
And
it makes the game easy for them. But sorry, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. And it just, I did notice a few people, I won't name names obviously, but people who have tweeted similar things to the idea of, it's not my job to make sure survivors have fun. And then they're upset when survivors don't give a shit about playing with them and just DC. Like, it just kind of amused me because the survivor doesn't owe you the game either in that case. Like, if the DC penalties are off, and I, as I say, people DC. Like, I think we were talking about this before, Doug. People DC anyway. Like, if they don't want to play against Nurse, they DC. Like, it's 5 minutes. Who cares? But like, I rarely even like I did play an hour into the event. And I didn't see that many DC.
I think that
whilst DC penalty.
A lot of killer mains underestimate the fact that people are willing to take the penalty if they really don't want to play against it, and if they get a big enough penalty, they'll just go play something else or go to bed or take a walk or something. Like, I don't think there's that many people that are like locked into only playing DBD forever.
Yeah.
And people are still going to DC even with the penalty, but again, it's like that's what it circles back to. Like, we're not fucking hall monitors, dude. Like, let people make their decision. And again, if they turn it off and people are like, woo, I can DC finally, like, whatever, dude, like, get over it. It's going to happen. Yeah. Like, no amount of you crying about it on Twitter is going to make people rethink their strategy on playing against 4 slowdown Legion, right? They're just going to not want to do it. And they're like, yes, I can get away with this, Pog. Like, it's just
true. I can save myself time if I don't want to get trapped in a game that I don't enjoy.
And I personally wouldn't DC no matter what I was playing against because I have respect for the other 4 people in the game if I'm playing solo. And if I'm playing with friends, my level of respect is going to vary. But for the most part, I'm going to respect everybody. And the gal's a joke, and neither one of you guys laughed. This is so sad. But yeah,
it's because it's honestly, a concise, true, honest point. But I
understand. If I'm playing with Gary, I don't care. Like, I'll do whatever. But no, if you're playing with random people, I have a base level of respect for my fellow person, right? And so I don't want to ruin the game, even if I'm not having a good time. Okay, maybe I won't come back next week. No, but
What do you mean come
But
back?
it's not.
You're a
But
guest.
it's,
have you on again,
You're a
Doug.
guest.
yeah, I don't know if I want to be a guest anymore. You guys are mean here. No, but it's for me. It's like that's a personal decision that I don't need to like virtue signal onto other people. Like it's not my job to tell you like you're not. And like I can have an opinion. If Gary DCs every time he faces like 7 of the killers in the game, like let's say you just DC forever, like I can have an opinion that you're a dick for doing that. But like,
I would agree with you. I don't DC against unless I.
But why should you? Why should you care? Like you can do whatever you like. You have free will, and
again, if there's this mindset of you're not responsible for anyone else's fun, why is anyone responsible for staying into a match? Like what?
Exactly.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think you should stay in the match because whenever you DC as a survivor, you're not really damning the killer. You're damning your three other teammates that are left trapped in a match that they don't want to DC out of.
Yeah. A lot of times when people DC, it's to spite the killer, but like really, you're just giving the killer a 1K because then it's 3v1. A lot of times when people DC,
usually they're giving them a 4K because they.
Yeah.
Well, they're giving them right, exactly. Like I don't mind when people DC generally when I play solo survivor. A lot of times it really ruins the game, but sometimes we can come back from it. I wish they would give it a chance first because so many times we'll load in, I'll be like, all right, time to get started. And then they'll hear the killer's terror radius and they'll be like, oh, it's Huntress, DC. And then I'm like, oh, great, 3v1 at 5 gens. But then I had one that happened just recently that was like that, where they DC'd immediately at 5 gens. And I was like, great, uphill battle. And the killer that we played against, I got into a chase with them. They were not good. And we ended up getting a 3 escape. And it was like, if you had just stuck it out, you could have escaped with us, but it's like when you just DC at the drop of the hat, it's like, why'd you even queue up?
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Even when it's a nurse, find out how good the nurse is.
Find out how good she is. Yeah, and then just give up on your first hook.
Yeah.
You don't need to take the penalty. At least give us a chance to like get started if we want to stay in and we want to play the game.
No. And I'll agree with all of that. I'll agree with all that. That's like how I feel too, and how most, I think, decent people should feel. Like you should have a base level of respect for your fellow player, like, and say like, okay, I don't want to ruin the game. I mean, even if you fucking hate killers, like I don't care about the killer, but just your teammates, like, come on, man, they're on your side. Like, you know, Tom Brady doesn't go out and like throw an interception in the first quarter. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking out of here, dude. Like this game sucks. Like I don't even want to play anymore. Like you guys can handle it, right?
I lit up there because I was like, that's a sports name that I recognize.
Tom Brady, the immortal 45-year-old Tom Brady.
You have to say the literal most famous person, so Gary will know who it is.
Yeah.
So
you have to say the greatest football player that's ever lived for Gary to know.
Yeah, agreed and based. You're gonna get so much hate in the comments for saying that, John. Some sports fans out there right now, like Tom Brady, greatest ever.
Oh, I beg for them to debate me on that. Debate me.
Yeah, same.
They won't debate me.
We're gonna have some food. I feel.
What about my food?
They only hate. They never debate.
But yeah, to wrap on DC penalties, like you should be a decent person, but if you're not, like it's also not my job to like enforce that. I'm also, you know, I'm not also following you around at the grocery store making sure you put your card away, right? Like I don't know, you just
Although
can't.
people that don't put their card away, fuck you.
Well,
true.
I mean, when you play enough DBD, it just gets exhausting. You got to pick your battles. You can't just sit there and be upset over every little thing. Like the killer's tunneling me, the killer's camping me, this person DC'd, this person's running forced slowdown, this person's not healing me, this person's sitting in the corner not doing gens. There's so many things that you can get.
I always think the people that get like really angry at DBD, play the other role for a bit.
Yeah,
there's not enough of that going on.
Gross. I don't want to play Survivor. Yeah.
On that note, too,
if you're getting upset with playing killer though, and like survivors are winding you up, you just go right. I'll play Survivor for a bit. I'll walk a day in their shoes, and then it'll calm you down.
Or piss
you off more. I don't know.
If you're playing nurse every match and you keep getting DCs, you could always play another killer.
You literally could just take the hint, right?
There's like 25 other killers. You could just play one of them.
Yeah, you can just take the hint and just say, you know what? Maybe it's what I'm doing. Anyways,
maybe.
That was I tweeted out because I was like, maybe it's less about who you're playing and more about how you're playing.
There's so many, lots of things to think, lots of food for thought from Show Season 6.
What do you think, listeners? Some comments in the...
Shout out to our Romanian viewers.
We love you. You are always our first number one.
You're our backbone.
And we'll never forget that.
You are our favorites. Never forget that.
The foundation.
You're our favorite. The rest of you, work harder.
Well, you know what? If you want to be our favorites, then we're going to have to be the number one video game podcast in your country, too.
Yeah.
True. You got some work to do. Start spreading the word.
Yeah. Let's go, Bulgaria. Come on. Step it up.
Yeah, they can get it. Yeah, so that's pretty much DC penalties, right? Like, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
And then if people are dicks, don't worry too much about it. It's going to be over soon. It's already over. Like we talked about it, like, but it's already happened. Like,
it was a weekend.
It was off, and now it's
Twitch was having
off.
a meltdown about it.
I was surprised at how many Survivor mains were like reveling in it because
it was kind of funny though.
I was just like, what? You guys are a problem. You don't realize this, but
they're just fun havers, John. They're just enjoying their newfound freedom.
I think when
a kid's parents are out of town.
There was a certain element of enjoying the hypocrisy of like, I don't owe you fun, but you can't just leave my game. I want to have fun. It's like
I don't understand why killer mains would be annoyed by DCs because it's like a free win every time it happens.
Yeah, now you can bully the other three. How could they come back from it? The trouble is what happens is when the DC penalty was off, one person DCs and then the other two more go, yeah, you know what, I don't care either. And then someone gets the hatch and that's their game. And then they go back into
I'll say it.
Hell for 10 minutes.
It bothers me it bothers me because what Gary said rings very true. I sit in queue for sometimes 8 to 10 minutes during peak hours in the middle of the night.
Right.
And it's like I'm playing like Leatherface with 2 slowdowns and I down somebody with a nice saw and he just DCs. I'm like, oh, so this game's over. Like,
yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, that's also a small in a vacuum issue because the thing is, I get maybe 1 to 2 DCs a night if it's like a bad night. Like I will literally go stream after stream without getting DCs. And you guys know I play. Right?
I watch enough for you to know that you don't wind up people as much as they think people think you do.
Yeah, exactly, right. But I would guess that the percentage, the more slowdowns you run, the more 3 gens you try to lock down, the more nurses you run, the more camping you do at 5 gens, like your rates are gonna go up.
Probably, yeah.
So it's like I can see both sides of it. I can see that it's annoying to get the early DCs, but it's also like annoying to get camped in your first hook at 5 gens. So.
It kind of goes back to like the constant cause of a lot of DBD discourse, and that's that the game is a casual party game. It's not super competitive esports, Overwatch gamers, you know. It's got to be kind of self-governed. It's more self-governed than a lot of other games like it, you know.
But we could talk, I mean, we say that, but Behavior doing the Community Cup?
Yeah.
In a world where they introduced MMR, and I would say the dead hard adjustments and a lot of the meta changes were to move the game. Because I think it's never been more balanced. I think the game is more balanced than it's ever been, and I think that's
true.
That is
for better or worse. Agreed.
Yeah, for better or worse. Agreed. Like the game's more balanced, and I can't help but think with the Community Cup, they are always slowly inching towards making this a competitive game.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say it on the podcast. You guys can come back to this in the future. Okay.
I'm excited.
If Behavior makes a single change to their observer mode, to the custom games, you have one person be an observer, right? Mm. If they make a single change to that, I'm going to agree with Gary that they're pushing towards like an esports, a more competitive side. Because right now, they have the most like bare bones custom games. Like it's really bad. It's if you guys have ever,
it's mostly
if you ever watched
buggy, isn't it? Where you like
if you ever watched a DVD tournament I played DVD comp for like 2 years and that thing the observer, it's not called an observer. I actually got
spectator,
the word wrong. The spectator. Thank you, John. Thank you.
That's
why you're in the first spot. You're so smart.
The observer's the geezer in the chair, right? That's what you get.
True. Yeah. If they get the spectator, if they update the spectator, or they adjust the spectator, yeah, I bet you did. You thought I was talking about something else.
Why is he talking about the guy in the chair?
Yeah. Okay. I have not had enough sleep for this. If they update the spectator, if they do work on their spectator mode, that will convince me that they are pushing towards a more competitive esports style game. And I honestly think that could be something that they would do. Like, I'm not going to say I think they're going to do it, but
I think they've been slowly moving in that direction.
Look at what other competitive games do. You know, Overwatch, League of Legends, like Fortnite. These games are massive, and DBD is big. DBD is the biggest horror game, the biggest asym by far. But I mean,
well, this could be a
machine
good
wants to grow
segue into our next topic. Unless John, do you want to say something before?
Well, I just want to say, like, I agree that they're trying to push in a more competitive direction, like you said, with the introduction of MMR and the community cups, and the finisher Mori and everything to make things more cinematic, right? They're definitely pushing things that way, but I just feel like it's still a long ways off.
I think
of the player base and the player interaction is currently still that of a party game to me.
I think there's two camps in the development team. I think some people want it to be competitive and some want it to be casual, and I think that's why things always seem a little disjointed. I mean, I've heard stories of collider issues. There's two types of colliders in Dead by Daylight, apparently, and that's a miscommunication between two halves of a company or a dev team.
You know, Gary, there is a third group that wants to play competitive in a casual game. Though.
Yes,
don't forget about those guys. They want to be competitive. They don't want other people to be competitive. That's where the term gen rushing came from, I feel like.
But what I find interesting is because the Community Cup has its own rules they're setting up, like you can only play these killers and that'll be on these maps, and you can only bring these perks and these add-ons. And I always think that's why it can't function as a competitive game, because if Overwatch was competitive, they don't have to do any of that. Rainbow Six Siege, none of that. Like the game just functions competitively because it's balanced.
Right.
I mean, I've been saying that for years, that for them to actually go competitive, they would have to dedicate a team to get a small pool of perks, small pool of killers, small pool of maps. They couldn't do RNG maps anymore. They'd have to have 3 variants of each map that was random, and they would have to really dig in. And if that's the same team that designed Garden of Joy, I would be really worried about that as a concept for comp, because I played comp, right?
That map's so pretty, but it's so imbalanced.
It's gorgeous, and it's just my least favorite place to ever be.
Some more lights in the main building would be nice.
I'd rather go to the DMV.
The recent maps, actually, Eyrie of Crows, New Haddonfield, and Garden of Joy, are all so miserable to play killer on. They're so
I don't mind Eyrie of Crows as killer. I don't mind it.
You are in the vast minority.
I know.
On that.
I know most people.
Can I also say I don't mind it too, though? Is that weird, Gary? That you and I both I don't. Yeah,
it's such a big map, though. It's
big, but it has manageable 3 gens. There's a lot of vision. Main building was hard for me at first, and then I kind of figured it out. Main doesn't really feel safe.
Main's got one strong pallet and one strong door. Because the other 2 doors you take out at the start.
You kick breakables and you're fine. It's not a great map, but I'll be honest. In terms of bad maps, I'm okay, Erie's doable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's one of the worst for killer. I've had miserable times on there. I mean, I've had plenty of 4Ks too. We all have. Right. We all 4K on Survivor side maps too. But
true.
I really, really hate it. But maybe we can go in more in depth on that, and maybe a map.
I would love to do that.
I'd love to do a map.
That'd be so much fun.
Can you imagine dogging on some of these maps? There's 4 good maps in the game.
On the topic of this competitive DBD, this is a nice segue into another competitive asymmetrical game, which is one of the reasons that I think competitive asymmetrical horror may not be the direction to go. VHS. A very well balanced game, a very competitive to play game. How's it doing, Doug?
Oh, VHS, come back to me. I love you so much. You guys know I'm sweaty. I like competitive games, and VHS was going to be my savior. I was like, okay, a game where everybody's sweaty, and a game where it's expected you play to win, and it's just really struggling, guys. They have a Halloween event going on right now. And again, I've been away, so I haven't been checking daily, but before we were talking about it kind of going through a rough patch. It was at 250 concurrent average players?
I think it was struggling to hit 200. I feel like it was 180.
200?
Because we were making little jokes about it.
Right. Well, they have a Halloween event going on right now, and they're sitting at 335 with a 24-hour peak of 441. So, we're
blowing up.
It's just really tough.
Watch out, Dead by Daylight.
It's just tough because an event, DVDs went from 30 to 70,000 players when they had an event. They almost doubled their player base, and these guys were sitting at 200 and can't double their player base.
Yeah,
that's rough.
It's definitely an issue. I think we're seeing, because I've seen a lot of VHS angst on the timeline on social media lately, and I can definitely, as someone who doesn't really play it, haven't played it in weeks, I can definitely sympathize, because it does seem like things are downtrending over there.
Yeah, and it hurts because I really did think it was and I do think it's a solid game. I don't think it's impossible they can make a comeback. I would say that if their priority right now isn't getting it out on console as soon as possible to get more players injected, because if you look at Evil Dead, and we'll talk about Evil Dead more, but 80% of the Evil Dead player base is console players.
Yes.
90% of the Predator Hunting Grounds player base is console players. You guys need console players to keep this game alive at this point.
I think we've kind of said we've alluded to this a couple times in previous seasons, but yeah, console is I think the number one priority they need to have moving forward because they could easily become the number 2 asymmetrical game if they just had console integrated. Yeah, because you look at these pop numbers of like 350, 400 during the Halloween event, and it's like oof, that's so low. But I think if they had console support, that could easily be doubled or more, and we could be seeing
way more than that,
a much healthier player base.
If it was free to play on console, I think it'd be doing
they blow up. Yeah, it's
good.
crazy. Like Predator Hunting Ground still has instant queues years later because they have console crossplay. Do you guys remember? I don't know. Again, I'm terrible with timelines. I'm like object permanence is hard for me. But were you guys playing when they first instituted crossplay in DBD?
I never played it. Oh, in DBD.
Oh, yes.
Before.
Yeah.
Like, because you guys remember how bad it was right before crossplay hit? I honestly believe crossplay saved Dead by Daylight. I think the game could have died.
Yeah.
Oh, I think so. I think, I'd agree.
Yeah, not only did it increase pop numbers by like so much, it completely changed the game as a whole. Because I remember playing Killer before crossplay on PC was like night and day compared to after.
Oh yeah,
it was,
and the queues went from 20 minutes to like instant overnight when they turn on crossplay.
What was really good for it is it brought in a lot of casual players, which I think Dead by Daylight relies on. Like because before it, I don't know if you're alluding to this, John. It was sweaty.
It was so sweaty.
Everyone was sweaty.
Just because, and it's nothing against console players. It's not. It's just PC players.
This is a positive.
They were years late to start playing too. So that's another thing too. Like console got the game years after PC did.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. But PC players are also just have a higher propensity to be really sweaty and to play the game a lot and to be really serious about it. Because you know it's much more expensive to have a high-end gaming PC than it is to have a console. True. But also, I think more than that, the console population was just so much higher than PC. So you had a greater ratio of casual players flood in, and that completely changed the game. I can't imagine going back now. I mean, you can if you turn crossplay off. You can go back to the old days.
If you want to only play against comp teams practicing for tournaments. That's true. That's
even like small things, isn't it? Like I suppose on PC, everyone's wearing headphones, so you can hear everything. With console, they're on the telly. Like
true.
Yeah. Have speaker audio.
Yeah. And before anybody gets in the comments and says we're dogging on console players, there are fantastic console players. I always play when I played in comp. Some of the best teams in the league I was playing in were full console squads, playing on PS4 and Xbox 360. This is before even the next gens. So like, there's no. But what John says rings true. Like the average PC gamer just like takes themselves in games a little more seriously, I think, than the average console gamer. Yeah, just on average. But those casual gamers and those casual players are literally why our game is so healthy and so good right now. Because without them, the game probably would have gone the way of VHS, because VHS has no casuals. Like that game isn't casual friendly at all. And so that's why you go to play, and it's just like every game you're fighting for your life, and like just imagining somebody that doesn't do this for a living.
It's charming in its own way. It's just like it's not good for game health, I would say, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know how they fix that, but I think that the best so everybody thinks that having custom lobbies is going to help because people will be able to like pull their friends in and teach them. I don't agree. I don't think it's
less people in matchmaking. That's what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't want to play customs. They want to earn. I want to unlock cosmetics and play the game. Yeah. Right? So
and I think we dogged on the custom game thing a couple weeks ago too when we were talking with Spooky Loops about it, because we were just like, nobody's waiting with bated breath to be like, I'm just gonna wait so my friend can invite me to a custom game with them and then I'll try out the game. That's not
until then. I'll just keep playing DBD, I suppose.
I guess I'll just keep playing DBD.
Yeah, so I think that the end point that we've reached is like without console and crossplay, like without some way to inject a huge number of players, I don't see how they pull out of it. I don't see what big change they make. And I'm worried that, what can they do? They're going to go the prop night route and just start completely changing the game, like a desperate attempt.
I think another bad sign, and this is maybe something that was a little bit unhealthy when the game was starting up, is a lot of the anti-Dead by Daylight people really jumped on the bandwagon for VHS. And I've seen a lot of those individuals start to turn on the developers of VHS and blame them for not doing enough for the game. Very much like how they always blame behavior for not doing enough for the game. And I've seen that, I'm like, what do you want them to do?
Yeah.
They gave you the game you wanted, and now
Yeah.
you're back playing DBD. So
Yeah, very interesting.
They made the competitive asymmetrical horror game that was incredibly balanced that you dreamed of, and casual players don't give a shit about that.
and it's so fun. I love it. I love it. I'll probably play later. I'll probably play later today. Like I love the game, and I want to see it succeed. But it's like, for a case in point, and I don't want to get too far off the trail here. But I had a good friend of mine come to town that I haven't seen in years from Alaska, and we wanted a game together. And I thought about showing him VHS, and I was like, I literally can't. We'll have a miserable time. Like he won't have any fun. We just ended up playing Overwatch because I'm like, okay, that's easy.
Right.
Like it's just
Yeah.
And that's the problem is like that's the people like that are who you need to try the game out, give it a chance, and decide, hey, I really like this. I want to keep playing it.
Yeah.
And how do you get that person to sit down? Because again, I've said it before 1,000 times. Like you need like 100 hours in the VHS just to kind of feel like you know what you're doing. Like how do you convince even for a free to play game? How do you convince people to invest 100 hours in a game when they have some people only have 10 hours a week to play?
Yeah.
So the VHS is still in early access, right?
Yeah.
Does it have to fully release in order to be on consoles?
Probably. I don't think.
No,
is that the obstacle or
no. Because Fortnite was in early access on console for like 6 years or something because they were using it as they had like it was because there was a loophole where they could like push updates whenever they wanted to because it was an early access game. So if a game's in full release, they have like, that's why DVD has to do their updates the same day every week because they want to get them across all the platforms. And so when Fortnite was in early access, they could push updates whenever they wanted to because they didn't have to follow the same rules as a full release game. So that's why it was like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a couple years ago.
I can't think of any PlayStation games at the moment. I mean, I don't log into it every day, but is there early access games on the PlayStation now? Like, I don't. Fortnite is an example of like back,
I'm just trying to think of like
8 years ago or whatever. But
what would be an obstacle for them getting VHS out on consoles?
I mean, it like they would need a dev.
Like Disney Dreamlight Valley is a good example. That's a game that's in early access. That's on console.
Oh,
okay. Well, it's so strange to me. Like I almost wonder what the point of them being in early access is at this point. Like what is going to significantly change between now and the full release of the game?
Full death.
Well,
because
from what I'm
full death of the game.
Scary.
I mean, DVD was in early access until they came out with Wraith and Hillbilly, and then they fully released the game, and that was ages ago.
Yeah.
So like, how long is VHS planning on being in early access? Seems like that's the second big question behind when are they going to release on console? Because from what I understand, they haven't fully marketed the game because it's in early access and they want to save it for when it's fully released, right? So
yeah, that's what I've been told. Yeah.
Is there any kind of roadmap, or I mean, I haven't checked. Is there any kind of?
I mean, they still haven't. I'm pretty sure they still haven't even released the new teen yet. I haven't. No, I mean, I played this last weekend, and yeah, they announced the teen and the monster at the same time. And we got Deathwire, which was a fantastic release. And then the game kind of had some life there for a few weeks. Like, queues were great. Everybody's excited about the new monster. And, people were excited about it. People were streaming the game. I was super excited about it. I put like a reasonable amount of hours in the game. And then now it just kind of like...
Yeah.
Now what? And like, what do they do? Do they release a teen now when teen queues are already 15 and 20 minutes long? Like, do you release a new teen and get them people wanting to try out a character they can't play?
That's the other side of the coin of like, it was really smart for them to release Deathwire when they did because it improved the queues a lot. But now it's like they release a teen, but that's just going to make it worse.
They can't release them, can they? Because it's like...
Yeah, they're just like stuck.
Although, would it not just feel exactly the same as it is now? Like...
Yeah, like how much longer could the queues be?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. But... Thankfully, VHS isn't our only alternative option for DVD, right? We had other.
That is true.
I like our summary for VHS. This section is like, now what?
Yeah, let's be honest. Like, we're waiting for.
That's
something
pretty how much of their business
true.
meetings. And
I'm still
they're talking about the game. They're like,
no, it's.
So what now?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's that?
I mean, I'm waiting for the announcements. I'm hopeful because I've invested a lot of time in the game. I have hundreds of hours, and I want to keep playing it. I really enjoy it. Like I said, I'll probably play it again in the next few days, depending on how addicted I get to Ghostbusters. But I am worried about the long-term health of the game.
Yeah.
But also, I'm very much an optimistic person, so I'm like, okay, hopefully they've got something in the works that'll breathe some new life. Because again, it was looking pretty bad before Deathwire, and then Deathwire kind of breathed new life. Maybe they can pull some other magic off. Who knows? We'll just have to see.
It's just got to be new content. Got to be some new content that knocks everyone's socks off.
Some bloody amazing content.
Yeah.
But what if they get Jason Voorhees, you guys? That could be it. That could
Jason
save it.
X. It would have to be Jason X to fit.
That would be so good, Jason X.
I couldn't give a shit. I just don't think that would win me over at all. I love Friday the 13th, but Jason, what goes into VHS?
Yeah.
That was more just I think I'm flopping on my jokes today because that was more of a joke because everybody talks about him in DBD.
Oh,
yeah. Imagine Jason being in VHS and just being like, just getting ragged all around.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way they would license Jason in a game where he would just get dicked on every match. Like, no, dude.
He's getting like hit with like the holy slingshot.
Yeah. You got some 15-year-old killing him with a radiant cross. Like, no, Jason. My powers here are useless.
Kill them all, Jason.
Yeah, right. Got him with the radio-controlled helicopter, boys. Jason's dead.
Avoid the helicopter, Jason.
Okay. Well, actually,
this
might be a good April Fool's idea.
So, Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. We don't have a lot to talk about in Evil Dead, right? Gary, you got
Is Evil Dead
notes,
kind of
right?
like in a now what stage too?
There's a new Survivor coming out. The Blacksmith.
Yeah, there's content and the player base is healthy. I will say that one of my and I need to speak with him. I'm a good friend who streams the game full time.
They're both here.
No, I have more friends than used to. Not a lot, but more than two.
Gary, did you know about this?
I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry.
Our guest doesn't tell us anything.
This should have been talked about before the podcast. It's my fault. But no, a friend of mine who streams the game full time is very excited to move to Ghostbusters when it comes out. Like, he's very excited about the prospect of making a jump, which means that he is dissatisfied, and I need to speak with him more about why he's dissatisfied. I will say that I spoke with another friend of mine who plays a tremendous amount of Evil Dead. I'm sorry, Gary. Gary, I'm sorry.
Let Doug finish, Gary. He's telling us about the Evil Dead community.
He's a previous full-time VHS streamer, and then he switched to Evil Dead. He plays Demon, and he told me, I was gone for 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him last night. He raided last night, and I was like, how has Evil Dead been going? He's like, well, I haven't lost a match as Demon since before you left for San Diego. And he's a very good player,
right?
But that's concerning.
I mean,
in a lot of ways.
I will add, like, every time I've played Evil Dead, I always start up by playing some Demon because I love playing Demon, and I don't lose.
Same.
Yeah, I don't lose as Demon.
I win like 80%.
Like, I go weeks without playing it, and I play a couple of rounds, and I just win.
That is,
and they're not against bad survivors. Yeah. I just win because it's not.
And so that tells me two things. It tells me, one, that Demon might be overtuned, but it also tells me, two, that Survivor players might just be leaving the game. Like, people that are like good at Survivor might just be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not going to play anymore.
That's more concerning, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, I don't think queues have been an issue. I haven't played. I played Evil Dead last weekend for a couple hours. I played Survivor because I was on controller, and I won every game that I played at Survivor. So it's not like it's unwinnable.
Yeah.
When you play Survivor, but I just feel like there's something to that. Like, because I mean, the best players in DBD, the best players in VHS don't win every single game. Like, you're still gonna come up against a team that can beat you. I don't know. So
yeah, 100% is. I mean, that is an absolute value, right? Like, that is no losses.
Not losing ever.
I don't remember the last time I lost as Demon. I don't play it all the time, but I play it every like 2 or 3 weeks. I'll play a couple of rounds.
But like, I don't think there's anybody that could go 100% 4Ks on like Trapper, right? On DVD, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I guess the reason I'm mentioning that is because he's got the lowest kill rate. But the reason I mention that is because obviously this person I'm talking about. Well, I don't know. Alf's won like 350 games in a row on Nurse, so I think Nurse is. He's so good. Anyways, but what I'm saying is that, like, obviously this person I'm talking about, I'm going to say his name, Mr. Blue. He's a very good streamer. He's a good friend of mine. He's a very good killer player in DBD, in VHS, in Demon. He's like me, but good at the game. So he plays. That's all he plays is killer. But the fact that he's capable of doing that means that I feel like on some level there's imbalance, right? Like, not all asyms are imbalanced, but it's got to be like, for somebody to be capable of winning that many games in a row, there's got to be like, that just means that the baseline is like, for somebody that's got a lower skill, is still
that with
like
is that with
strong,
all
right?
demons, or is there a specific one they main?
He plays all demons.
Oh, okay.
I think he mains Puppet Master, which is very strong, but he definitely plays all demons. So.
Yeah, but he doesn't lose even when he switches to one of the less
No,
superpowered
he
one,
he just plays forever. He plays and just wins forever. He
Okay,
did the same thing on VHS. He played Wart primarily, but he played all the monsters in VHS very effectively too. You can't just play one; you'll go crazy.
Tell Nursemaid's that.
Nursemaids just really like to win. So.
We were spoken a lot about last, but
Well, she's a hot topic, but yeah. Sorry, we gotta keep.
So we'll obviously touch on. I think we should play some more Evil Dead. At least I'll play some more Evil Dead this week.
down.
I plan to.
we haven't played together. For
Can
a
we
while.
please play the three of us? Because I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago, but my solo Evil Dead
John
experience
had
is
a
not great.
real bad time.
I would love that.
Okay, because I'd like to
for
level
sure.
up and kind of see what the game is more like from a high level.
It is nice. Like when I want to play well as Survivor, I just go, I'll play Cheryl because she's fully leveled.
Yeah. It's incredible the difference it makes playing like a level 25 instead of playing like a level 7 or something like that. Like this really is and which it makes it nice that Evil Dead allows you to level up other characters playing one max level character. You can actually earn spirit points that you can spend, which is something that they don't do in VHS, which is another issue I think that game has.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the short version of Evil Dead is like, we're not really sure, but I think there are some balance issues that need addressed. Like maybe we watched Sledge's video a couple weeks back. We talked about it. Maybe there was some truth to what he was saying because it sounds like Demon is very, very, very strong right now.
Yeah. Only
On
time
the bright
will tell.
side, new Survivor, Blacksmith. Looks badass. That's cool.
He does look dope. He
Yeah.
looks good. He looks dope. Maybe he'll be cracked.
Is
Maybe
he
he'll
in-
save the survivors.
Is he another Army of Darkness survivor?
Yeah, I think so.
Are there more Army of Darkness survivors than there are from any other
I haven't done the math.
Evil Dead media?
I mean, I think it would make sense since you've watched the Evil Dead films, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So like Evil Dead 1 and 2 have a pretty. I think the cast is a little lower. There's really not many NPCs that you can use from those films, right? Like Army of Darkness had a huge cast.
Yeah,
I think that, and the Ash versus Evil Dead also had a. I mean, I'm
excited
still
to
waiting
see
for
it
Chet. I want Chet so bad.
Isn't there the idea that it's going to extend outside of the known evil?
We don't know yet. Have they talked about that?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
no,
never mind.
I think we discussed they should do that or something.
Yeah, we thought they should do
need
it.
to.
Texas Chainsaw was the one that
TCI,
Will made.
they have
Texas Chainsaw.
They
that's
have.
right.
They already announced like we can create canon, so we're good forever. This
sorry,
game will never die.
Evil Dead.
I think
I wish it would.
That's still a question mark with Evil Dead of if they can expand past what's already been established. Like that's going to help the game a lot.
It will help the game a lot. However, I will say, as a devil's advocate to that being necessary, we have the new Evil Dead film coming out next year.
That's true.
And Bruce Campbell has confirmed the Ash versus Evil Dead animated series is on the way,
which could add a lot of craziness.
Creates more characters that they can borrow from.
Yeah,
right? Because they used 2013. They brought characters in from Evil Dead 2013. Like they're going all over the
anything with the Evil Dead branding.
license,
Yeah,
the canon,
that could be very good for the game.
So
actually, if the animated series does well and the new film kicks off,
plus
they work that in with the game, that would be good.
Yeah.
Plus, Ash is now a playable character in Fortnite.
I literally downloaded Fortnite.
The ultimate crossover. What we've been waiting for. I really want to check out the cabin. The cabin's in the game.
What? It is?
Yeah. You can go to the Evil Dead cabin somewhere. I saw like a little thing on Twitter.
I know Fortnite's not an asym horror game, but oh my god, they kick ass at that game. They do.
Yeah. Yep. They really do.
They pull out all the stops to make it as fun as possible. I love
and
it.
Everyone is always, whenever you say you should try out Fortnite, everyone always goes, "Oh, really?
That kiddie game? That game
and as soon as you
kids.
play it, it's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah,
if you don't,
every single person that acts like that and they play it, they go, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, as soon as they see like Batman doing the Pokemon dance after getting a kill on a xenomorph, they're like, oh, you know what? This game is actually like kind of cool.
Yeah, Fortnite's not super for me, but if you don't have a base level of respect for what they've pulled off and for how high quality their game is, you're just a hater. You're just hating for no reason. Like
it's just
the most it's like up there with Minecraft, right? It's like the most popular, most played games of all time, highest earning games of all time, and it's not garbage. Like it's actually fun.
No,
like,
it's very good. Because I've avoided it for years because I was cynical about it, and I also hated the building. I didn't like the building mechanic and the harvesting materials and all that.
Old people can't build.
Yeah, also I was like just cynical about the game in general. Just like, I mean, it's really monetized, right? Like it's spend money. But I started coming back with Zero Build, and it has been really bad. I couldn't
And it's
reverse
worked
my
out well
opinion
because,
enough on it.
I think we have 3 people that have spent money and money and money.
Yeah, I've got a code. I've got an Epic Games creator code.
I got a creator code too. I do too. This is
I
crazy.
don't
But use
use one
John's.
of
John's number. He's got the first camera, so you should use his code.
That's right. I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, do it.
Use it.
But now we're talking about Fortnite, so we're way off.
Yeah,
track.
we gotta.
I mean,
believe,
Fortnite recently got some other cool skins like Dragon Ball Z one.
like Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, they had a whole Dragon Ball event.
Yeah, it was
you could
cool.
gain a Kamehameha. You could insta kill people with the Kamehameha. You could hop up in the air and do it up there. You could get a little Nimbus cloud and just float over hills and stuff.
Very satisfying to play as the Dragon Ball Z characters.
Let's
talk about Dragon Ball Breakers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Dragon Ball Z just come out with their own asym game that is its own their own version of horror, right?
It's not.
It is horrific.
It's so okay.
It is horrific.
Where do we start?
So
Tell me more, gentlemen.
Should we talk about the core loop? Should we talk about what the core loop is a little bit?
I'll just give some context for when we played it, and then we can go into the core loop. So
I know
Gary
nothing. This is gonna be great.
Gary and I played it. Yeah, it'll be like Doug's story time. Great. Okay, so Gary and I played it for the first time last Saturday. The game came out on the 13th, so it's been just a couple days after it came out. The game is averaging 3,000 to 4,000 concurrents, by the way. All-time peak is like 4,300, I want to say. Not great numbers. But with that said, we did have instant queues. We played with our friends Linksy and Sinnoh. 4 people in a 1v7. Is that right, Gary? 1v7?
Yes, it's 1v7.
And we played for about 2 to 3 hours or so.
I played for about 4.
Okay, yeah. Gary played a few rounds before we started. First of all, I just want to say I played the tutorial. And the tutorial is an interesting choice. It's like a 25-minute story mode where they don't actually teach you how to play the game. They teach you how to find power keys and press E to place them on the ground. And then you power up a time machine and you press E on the time machine to escape. But in between those lessons, there's like 5 minutes worth of Trunks, a character from Dragon Ball, telling you about like, oh, we gotta go back and change the past and all this crap. Oh, you've been sucked into an alternate dimension. And it's very difficult to actually suffer through for the tutorial.
I liked what you're doing with your hands, by the way, to be a Dragon Ball nerd. Look, you can do a solar flare.
Oh yeah. So for our audio only listeners, I'm gesticulating right now. But it's so funny because I went through it was like a 25-minute tutorial, mostly dialogue, and then I hop into my first game and I'm like, what is going on? Because it's nothing like the tutorial. Like I said, they basically just tell you how to find power keys and put them in the ground.
I did the opposite. I skipped the tutorial thinking, oh, it can't be that complex. And I was like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is like, it's not simple to like look at and figure it out.
So Gary, feel free to segue into the core loop. What was the game actually like?
Okay, so 7 survivors, we'll call them, I suppose. 7 survivors spawn in.
I think they're called survivors, yeah.
Yeah, and then there is one... I think
Raider.
It's Raider. Yeah, Raider. That's basically that's Frieza, Majin Buu, or Cell.
We can call them killers.
Yeah, the killer. And so I'll talk about the survivors loop because that's the main one we really experienced. We played the killer a little bit. Yeah. But the main thing survivors have to do is search chests. They go looting. You find chests that are in caves and just around the map. You open them and you hope there's a key in it. You can pick up radars to help you kind of try and find things. But you're just trying to find these magic keys that John spoke about, the power keys, and you plug them into the ground and charge the giant time machine floating in the sky. And
there's one power key for each zone. There's a zone A, B, C, D, and E. So there's 5 zones. So you find 5 power keys, 5 zones, kind of like 5 generators, right?
Yeah.
And they're just split up evenly throughout the map.
Yeah. So you run around, kind of free roam. So that's and one of the victory conditions is to, at the end of the game, fix that time machine. The more keys you can get into place, the quicker it recharges, I believe. And the killer tries to stop you from doing that. They can destroy the power keys. They can destroy bits of the map over time.
They can destroy entire zones of the map. The 5 zones that we talked about. The killer can straight up demolish them.
And And so that's one victory condition, is for the survivors to do that. There's another victory condition for the survivors where I'm not sure how it quite works. A random hatch-like time machine will spawn, and survivors can get on it and escape by another means. I'm not really sure what triggers it.
They have to pilot the time machine around the map, though, and the killer can just blow it up and kill them.
Yeah. And then the killer just has to kill everybody. And basically, if you get spotted by the killer, they're going to kill you. Like, they're just, they outpower you dramatically. And basically, every single player is able to be inhibited by the spirit of a champion, an old Dragon Ball Z fighter like Goku, Android 18, Piccolo, Vegeta, etc., etc. But when that happens, you're still weak as piss. The killer will just punch you about and kill you.
So what if they like group up like 3-4 people? Can 3 or 4 do something against the killer? Or?
That is theoretically possible. However, in our matches, we were unable to sync that up.
We did have some moments where we did some damage, but ultimately, the killer's very strong.
The killer's extremely strong.
So even when I out-leveled them as a survivor, I would get the shit kicked.
Is killing the killer a win condition? Can you?
I think so. Yes, I assume so.
Yes,
yeah.
but I mean, the closest we ever got was like halfway through their health bar, and that was because they were letting us fight them. They were basically farming.
Survivors can also find the Dragon Balls, and if you find all 7 Dragon Balls, you can wish for power, which can make you able to fight the killer a little bit more, but not like a victory condition. And the killer can also get the Dragon Balls and level up themselves.
All the killer has to do, by the way, is find 1 of the 7 Dragon Balls, and even if you have the other 6, you're not going to get all 7. That's a scenario we ran into several times. So I think at this point, it's important to reveal that the game seemed to us to be like ridiculously killer-sided. To the point where like the survivor gameplay loop was really boring. Because
search and hide and die.
Search chests, and it's a barren, empty world, pretty large actually. Moving around it is kind of fun. You can jump really high, you can roll, you can climb
slowly.
You can
There's a dinosaur you can ride. That was cool. I found the dinosaur you can ride.
There's some mounts, but overall, there's really you kind of have to move around quickly because there's nothing except for chests. Everything in the game you can find in a chest. Radar to find Dragon Balls, radar to find power keys, which you need to find 5 of, right?
Energy
radar
bars
to find,
level yourself up.
Yeah, so the other thing that you can find are like energy bars. And as you get energy bars, you can level yourself up to 1, 2, or 3. If you reach power level 3, you can kind of go toe-to-toe with the killer for a little bit, but it's a very short amount of time. And if you power up a big move, the killer can just move out of the way.
Yeah, I did a spirit bomb, because there's a gacha system to it. So you spend money and you can unlock champions, and you can use those and improve your skills. And I got the super spirit bomb, so I was like, oh sweet, that's Goku's ultimate attack.
That's like an ultimate attack.
That's how Goku kills everything. So I did it at one point. I was like, right, spirit bomb. I held it for ages, got it all big, threw it, and the killer just moved. And I was like, oh. And they killed me.
Yeah. So if you don't power up and transform into Goku or Piccolo or something to fight the killer when they show up, and you just stay in survivor mode, the killer kills you in 2 seconds. There's no interaction or gameplay possible for that not to happen from what we could tell. You can't
get throw smoke bombs down and use little abilities to try and just get away, but
yeah, you can get a rocket launcher, but speaking as someone who rocket launched the killer in the face from point blank range, it did a tenth of 1 health bar, and the killer has 10 of them. So the killer has tons of health. Basically, the only way that you're going to actually have a fun fight with the killer as survivors is if you group up, you all manage to loot enough to get enough energy to level up, and then you all transform at the same time and do a coordinated attack.
Because we had one moment where I think 3 or 4 of us were fighting the killer at, powered up, and it was generally we all died, but it was fun. We felt like we were doing some damage.
It was fun, even though I think we did maybe 1.5 bars of damage total out of 10. It was fun to kind of feel like we had some agency. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one moment when the killer was trying to destroy the time machine. I just ran up and gave him as a human, just punched it. They just turn around, no.
Oh, that was really funny. Yeah. But
yeah,
overall, it was extraordinarily frustrating to play Survivor.
It's one of the worst design games I've ever seen. I think the balance is a disaster. I think the UI is terrible. I think the tutorial was unhelpful and time wasteful. I liked unlocking new characters though. I think the character customization was pretty cool.
It wasn't bad.
We enjoyed not playing the game. There's a little hub world you can run around on your own. You can't do it together, but we all seem to be quite happy jumping on the table in that. But we get into the main game like, oh god, this is rubbish. But we're all being quite polite about the game. But I know that
So you're telling me the game's a high A, low S kind of game?
Yeah, low S.
Low S. Yeah, I'd say low S tier in terms of
it's
unfun.
Sounds dreadful. Sounds dreadful to me, and I'm kind of glad I missed it.
I love Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Z. I love all the characters. I love pretty much most of the fighting games I've played in the past because I've played most of them. I hated this.
Yeah. Well, and it's a shame too because, like Doug said, you said earlier, you're very optimistic. I was very optimistic going into this because I was like, a Dragon Ball asymmetrical game that's so creative and fun. I hope it's good. And it didn't take long for that hope to be quashed. Yeah.
Well, and I don't have any love for Dragon Ball Z at all. Like, I'm not interested in it really. I think I've seen like maybe a handful of clips from it. I've never even watched a full episode. So I would be like going in having to like be like, okay, let me check this out then. And it just sounds like there's no reason for me to even look at it. Like, it just sounds like it's a poorly designed game, very imbalanced.
They might change it and fix it quite a lot, and I hope that I would be willing to give it another shot if they did some dramatic balance changes. But that I'd have to see like a patch note that just went, we've reworked pretty much everything.
We changed everything in the game.
It's hard to really evaluate too because I mean we played 2 to 3 hours, but I've played 2 to 3 hours of asymmetricals in the past where I've been like, this game's so killer sighted. And then later it turns out like, well, if you level your survivors up and up, then, right.
You
can make the killer miserable. But
I was going to say, like, I don't think it was so much about it being killer or survivor sided. There was nothing satisfying about playing Survivor.
Well, that's because any interaction that you had with the killer was you see them, you die.
But the rest of it was I open boxes. I find key. Like,
so we were theorizing about halfway through our session that like maybe we're supposed to stealth a little bit more because in our first few matches we did the typical thing where we misunderstood how the game worked and we were just like, let's all go against the killer, and we just got slaughtered, right? Several matches. And so we're like, maybe we need to hide more. And so the stealth system in the game is you're supposed to crouch, in like a cave or something.
And they shake. They're all scared. And they shake, which is cool.
But there's a fear system, and that's that if the killer is around, even if you can't see them, if they're just in the area, your character will start to shake more and more until they freak out and they go, ah! And they start stumbling around. And every time that happened to me, the killer would immediately come down and kill me.
Also, the killer could like find you with like the radars and stuff. It's like, oh.
Yeah, the killer has a radar that will just like show where you are, apparently. I didn't get to play killer, but that's just what I was told. So, Dragon Ball Breakers.
It just sounds terrible. And I mean, I've already had plenty of terrible asym experiences with horror asyms, and so for me to try and get hyped about, I know Dragon Ball Z is a very popular IP. Like, obviously people are very excited about it. Probably, I would probably credit the fact that they hit 4,000 concurrent with the fact that it's a licensed DBZ game.
Yes.
Yeah. But it just sounds like they're not going to be able to, I think DBD, we always come back to the monolith, right? Like stuff like the Resident Evil chapters like blow up because they take a huge popular license and put it on an already polished game.
Yeah.
Taking a huge popular license like DBZ and putting it on a very much not well-balanced, polished game is yikes.
Yeah.
I think I'll be avoiding until...
I think if you had 6 sweaty friends and you were able to get really competitive with it and get on comms and coordinate and like get enough energy together and like, all right, 7v1, let's go, let's all transform. Use your move now. You could probably kill the killer if they were maybe new.
Or you could do something more productive of your evening.
Or you could take all that time and put it into something more rewarding.
Useful. Learn another language or something.
Yeah, I would say I've never felt like I had less agency as a survivor in an asymmetrical game than I did in Dragon Ball Breakers.
And that says something, considering we were all brand new survivor players at one point, right? And you feel really powerless in general. But I'm glad to hear that you've weighed the idea that maybe, it's just because I'm a brand new survivor player, but it's like goes beyond that.
But it's a thing of like your first time playing the game. Like the tutorial made us feel like we just didn't know what we were doing. And if I can't pick up like DBD again, to its strength of DBD, I look at that game and it's very quick to go, I do gen.
Right.
Like exactly
get the gens and get
even
out.
if you're hiding in the corner because you're new to the game and don't know and you're scared of the terror radius, you still understand that those gens are your objective. Whereas in the Dragon Ball game, it took us a few games to really understand what we were doing at all, and I still don't totally get it.
Well, like I said, the tutorial basically only tells you about power keys, and it tells you to press E to put them in the ground. Like 3 different times it tells you to do that. And it doesn't tell you about radars. It doesn't tell you about rescuing civilians, which you can do to get experience. It doesn't tell you about energy. It doesn't tell you about transforming into, Goku
Doesn't teach
or
you
anything.
Combat.
Doesn't teach you combat. Like there's one part where you fight, but
you're designed to lose that bit.
Yes. And it doesn't tell you about it doesn't tell you about the zones. It doesn't tell you about pretty much any of the actual gameplay. So
it strikes me as a game that had a lack
disappointing
of quality assurance.
Yeah, it's got about 1,000 viewers on Twitch right now, so
that's
not completely dead yet.
No, but we're still in the first week,
it's
right?
week 1.
So week 1.
Okay. Just trying to keep an optimistic take,
I will say, with the advent of the Ghostbusters game just releasing,
sorry,
I think it's going to be even harder for them to get a foothold because Ghostbusters is a big licensed asymmetrical game that just came out, right? So, is it asymmetrical?
Yes,
yeah,
4v1.
It is 4v1.
Ghosts
versus
4 busters versus 1 ghost.
Just wanted to make sure, okay, because I didn't know if there was 4 ghosts or what. No, I haven't played it yet. I'm going to be playing right after this podcast. So
yeah.
Gary has played some of it.
Just prior to the podcast, we'll save it for next episode. But I really want to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll do a full episode, right? Because we're all going to play a lot this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do a full Ghostbusters segment. I can really get into the brass tacks of it. I'm excited.
I think it's gonna be the meat and veg of the next episode, to be honest.
Can't wait.
If I was gonna guess, unless something dramatic happens in Dead by Daylight.
No, yeah, we'll be talking about it next week on season 7 of Spine Chill. The big Ghostbusters
so long
episode.
for season 7.
Yeah. I'm thinking unless something big happens with VHS or Evil Dead, we just skip them next week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to try and play a little bit of both just to maybe get some...
I think we should play Evil Dead. I'd like us to play Evil Dead. I just think it'd be fun.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, yeah, we don't necessarily have to talk about it, too. We can just have fun.
Yeah,
we can. If there's something that we feel compelled to discuss, we can. But I think next week we'll probably talk a little bit about Light in the Fog after that.
That's true. That's coming up this weekend.
We'll discuss that a little bit.
Everybody use code Warrior Puppers in the DVD store to get the new Puppers charm. Just came out,
which is
today
adorable,
when we're
by the way. It's adorable.
Yeah,
absolutely killed it. There is news on that. So let me see here. Not only is the charm available, there's also, I'm gonna try and find this real quick.
Okay.
There's something else I've missed.
Well. For anyone else that is watching this as it goes live too, this upcoming weekend is the Light in the Fog event. It takes place on Twitch, twitch.tv/lightinthefog. And it's going to be a big Dead by Daylight for fun tournament for a great cause to fight ALS. Every Dead by Daylight content creator is going to be in it. I'm going to be in it. Gary's going to be in it. Doug's going to be in it. Everyone.
Yeah.
Me and John are even doing some commentating on Saturday.
On Saturday? We do have a commentary slot on Saturday for 4 hours. So everybody needs to check that out this upcoming weekend. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can go to lightinthefog.com for more info.
Absolutely. So not only did Behavior put out the charm with code Warrior Puppers, but they're also donating over 75 codes to the event. and are making a generous donation to a local ALS foundation in Montreal. So
that's awesome.
I think I've actually seen the number, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. But it's a very generous donation.
That's
big
great.
W for behavior.
Yeah,
that's good.
Awesome. Huge W's from behavior. They're jumping on board. I mean, if you guys, those of you guys who don't know Max or Puppers, like he's been a mainstay of the DBD community basically forever. Fantastic human being. Personally, somebody that was probably more inspiring on my journey in content creation than anyone else individually. So I have a whole story about it, but I'll save it for another time. But yeah, it's just Light in the Fog is going to be incredible. We're all involved in some way or another, and we look forward to seeing you guys. I can't wait to talk about it on the episode next week because
that'll be fun. That'll be really fun, I think.
Yeah. For anyone that's not familiar with Puppers, they're a longtime DBD streamer, and Doug and I actually got to meet him this past weekend at TwitchCon, and that was great to see him in person. But he has been diagnosed with ALS, and that's what the whole Light in the Fog tournament is for. We're going to be raising money for him in his fight against horrible disease, and we hope to see you all there to support the tournament, and we're going to have a fun time while we're doing it, too.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
We do, right? All we do is have fun, right?
That's right. We take fun seriously.
Seriously.
Real. We need t-shirts. Take fun seriously.
I want to get like us three like drawn for a t-shirt.
That'd be cool.
That.
Yeah,
I like that.
Gary and I will be the two survivors running away from Doug.
Oh my god, that's such a good. I've got a vision. I've got a vision.
All right. We're gonna let Gary's artistic vision run here. But yeah, this is a good episode.
I have to find someone.
Okay. Well, yeah. We'll talk about that later. But we probably gotta wrap up because I think we're scheduled to stream Evil Dead. Ghostbusters in just a few minutes. So
Spooky got so excited hearing that Evil Dead. Is Evil Dead true?
Yeah, he's listening to minute 1 hour 22 minutes. He was like, "What? Evil Dead? They're streaming Evil Dead? When can I tune in?"
Let's go. Yeah.
Thank you everybody for tuning into season 6 of Spine Chill. As always, thanks to my co-hosts Gary the Hot Cross and Doug Running Man. Thank you for joining me here today, and hope to have you all back on the podcast next week.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye. Bye.